In the shadow of Mount Olympus, where gods toyed with mortals like chess pieces, one man's survival became the battleground for a divine grudge. This is the story of how Poseidon's wrath and Zeus's indifference turned a hero's journey into a decade-long nightmare. Zeus and Poseidon weren't just brothers, they were rivals from day one. After overthrowing their father Cronus, they drew lots to split the world. Zeus got the sky, Poseidon the sea. But Poseidon always resented playing second fiddle. And when a mortal named Odysseus crossed him, all hell broke loose. Odysseus' fatal mistake? Blinding Poseidon's son, the Cyclops Polyphemus. As Odysseus and his crew escaped the island, Polyphemus cried out to his father for vengeance. Poseidon, enraged, swore to make Odysseus' journey home a living nightmare. But here's the twist. Zeus allowed it. As king of the gods, he could have stopped Poseidon, but he didn't. Why? Because even gods play politics. For 10 years, Poseidon hurled every obstacle he could at Odysseus. Shipwrecks, sea monsters, even cursed winds. But Zeus? He stayed neutral mostly. See, Zeus had already decreed Odysseus would return home. Eventually, this wasn't mercy. It was about maintaining his authority over Poseidon. Athena, Odysseus' protector, begged Zeus to intervene. But Zeus walked a tightrope. He let Poseidon flex his power, but never enough to override fate. It's like watching two siblings argue. Zeus, as the older brother, sang, "Fine, mess with him, but don't kill him." The feud between Zeus and Poseidon simmered long before Odysseus blinded Polyphemus. During the Trojan War, their rivalry took center stage. Poseidon openly sided with the Greeks, using his power to shake the battlefield and shatter Trojan walls. Zeus, however, pretended neutrality, though he secretly favored Troy to curb Poseidon's growing influence. This tension wasn't just about mortals, it was a proxy war for dominance. When the Greeks won using the Trojan horse, a trick blessed by Athena, Poseidon expected gratitude. Instead, Odysseus' crew desecrated his temple during their victory sail home, looting treasures and mocking his altars. Poseidon's wrath wasn't just personal. It was a god's bruised ego turned into a storm. Remember Eris' golden apple? Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite fighting over fiercest? That chaos trickled down to mortals and set the stage for Poseidon's later vendetta. Zeus' sky versus Poseidon's sea wasn't just poetic, it was ideological. Zeus stood for order and kingship. Poseidon embodied chaos and raw force. Their rivalry wasn't just personal, it reflected ancient Greece's fear of the untamable ocean versus the civilized sky. Years earlier, Zeus and Poseidon clashed over patronage of Athens. Poseidon struck the Acropolis with his trident, creating a saltwater spring to showcase naval dominance. Athena countered with an olive tree, symbolizing peace and prosperity. The Athenians chose Athena, but Poseidon flooded their plains in retaliation. This rivalry mirrored their core conflict: Poseidon's brute force versus Zeus's strategic governance. Mortals paid the price, but Zeus's victory in Athens cemented his role as a god who rewarded wisdom over chaos. It also foreshadowed Odysseus' fate, a man favored by Athena's cunning, yet tormented by Poseidon's storms. Sound familiar? Mortals paying for divine egos. Zeus rarely intervened directly. When Poseidon trapped Odysseus on Calypso's island for 7 years, Zeus waited until Poseidon was distracted at an Ethiopian feast to send Hermes with orders for Calypso. Let him go. Even then, Zeus couched his command in diplomacy, avoiding open war with Poseidon while subtly asserting his authority. Athena, Odysseus' fiercest ally, navigated this divine Cold War. She couldn't override Poseidon's curses, but she whispered strategies to Odysseus. Lash yourself to the mast to resist the sirens, or disguise yourself as a beggar to reclaim Ithaca. Her aid was covert, a shadow game to outwit Poseidon without provoking Zeus. It's the ultimate lesson in a god's world. Mortals endure suffering for divine squabbles. When Odysseus finally returned to Ithaca, the feud's scars lingered. His palace was overrun by suitors, his wife Penelope besieged. Athena guided him to slay the invaders, but Poseidon's mark remained. Odysseus would wander again, as prophesied, until he carried an oar so far inland that locals mistook it for a winnowing fan, a final appeasement to the sea god. This feud wasn't just about storms and lightning. It shaped Greek culture. Sailors prayed to Poseidon for safe passage. Kings invoked Zeus for justice. Their rivalry reminds us that to the Greeks, life was a balance between chaos and order, sea and sky. Odysseus' ordeal wasn't just a hero's journey. It was collateral damage in a cosmic power struggle. Zeus and Poseidon's feud exposed a harsh truth. To the gods, mortals were tools for settling scores. Yet Odysseus' resilience gave humanity a flicker of agency in a world ruled by capricious immortals. As the poet Homer wrote, "Of all creatures that breathe and move upon the earth, nothing is bred that is weaker than man." But in surviving the gods' feud, Odysseus proved even the weakest can outweak the divine.